Hey everybody, I'm Pierre and I'm here to help you with your lineup decisions for week 10 as always at the running back position. Going to give you some of my favorite must starts and must sits, not going over the obvious names, just some of those guys you're just not quite sure about that I think you should put in your lineup or fade accordingly based on matchup. So here we go, let's get into it. Now, obviously this one comes with a big if. So if Chris Carson plays, you have to start him. Now, obviously, he's missed a couple of weeks, and there's always concern that he could re-aggravate that neck injury. You know, they were talking a couple weeks ago that this could be season-ending, career-ending. Obviously, it's not that serious. Again, it could be. There's something that could happen anytime you're in the head or neck area. That's serious, okay? But obviously, they were playing the long-term game. They were playing it safe. If they didn't think he was good to go and healthy, they wouldn't be putting him out there. He wouldn't be putting himself out there. So let's not get too worried. If he's playing, he's good. And we know one thing about Pete Carroll. If Chris Carson is healthy, he will play him a lot. He's not going to give him a few carries, use him as a decoy. No. Also, Alex Collins is now suffering his own injury. Not sure how that happened off the bye week. But anyways, it's going to be Carson's backfield. So you roll him out there. Some people are actually concerned before the injury. We're saying disappointed with Carson because he happened to be coming off a bad game right before he got injured and missed because he had 30 yards in a game. Let's not forget that before that, he was doing really well the first 3 weeks. He had 80 yards and a touchdown the week before that flop. He had 31 yards, but 2 touchdowns the week before that. And in week 1, he had 91 yards. He was running fine. He was putting up fantasy points. He's going to do it again. So I say if he plays, especially since Russ is also back, you've got to play him. Now, who's not playing in New England? Basically every other running back that you care about. So Damian Harris has been a stud, but both he and Ramondre Stevenson, who looked good in relief and he's shown flashes but can't stay on the field, they're both out in the concussion protocol. It doesn't look like either will go. Again, as always with every player, especially running back, we never know from day to day, week to week. So check practice reports, look up until game time. But telling you right now, there's a good chance that Harris doesn't go and Stevenson. So that would leave the entire backfield to Brandon Bolden and probably JJ Taylor. They'll bring him back. But Bolden's the guy who's going to get the touches. And Bolden's actually been pretty good when he has been on the field this year. He's averaging 4.9 yards per carry, which is hard to believe from a guy who's just kind of a occasional passing down back and relief man that comes in garbage time. But he's played a bigger role this year because of James White injury, and he's also, again, a prolific receiver. He's done well in the red zone. Think about Damian Harris being out. He's fourth in the league in red zone carries with 27. So take all those red zone opportunities. If you give some of those to Bolden, good chance for a touchdown. Going against Cleveland, well, depending on how you think this game is going to go, it might not be high scoring, but Bolden's going to get the receptions out of the backfield. He has a chance to score. And if they're at least in neutral game situation, you know that he can get some carries too. So all told, just based on volume and opportunity alone, I do like Bolden in PPR leagues. And he actually might be okay in standard leagues if he does get in the end zone. And then Devin Singletary, this will be the first, probably last time I recommend him. But here's the thing, Zach Moss also out. Concussion protocol doesn't look like he'll play. So the backfield for Buffalo is going to be all his. Now, we've heard that before, right? Singletary has had a chance to be the guy, and he's just never the guy because this backfield, you know, it just doesn't generate a ton of points. Buffalo isn't a run-heavy team, and when they are, they kind of split the load. And, of course, Josh Allen gets his own carries. He loves to vulture touchdowns. But Singletary is somebody that you should be interested in because it's going against the Jets, and you should be starting any and every running back against the Jets. I don't need to explain that. They are now by far the worst defense against running backs in terms of allowing fantasy points. Okay, they've given up 14 rushing touchdowns to running backs, and 4.9 yards per carry is Singletary's average. He's been doing pretty well. Great chance to score a touchdown. Good chance to break off some big runs. Need I say more? Running back against the Jets, and the running back who is pretty much the only running back who's going to get touches? Yes, please. No please to James Robinson. James Robinson, but he's a stud. Yeah, he usually is, but coming off that bruised heel, it's still going to be touch and go with him. Some people say that he's expected to play. Some people say it's not quite sure. Maybe he's going to be limited. So here's the thing with him. This is not so much a Robinson thing. Don't need to tell you that he's a good player because he is. He's just on a bad team, which you already know that. But my thing here is I'm just kind of done with the Jags. I'm done with them. I'm done trying to think Marvin Jones is going to have a good game because I have to pass a lot. Or Trevor Lawrence is finally going to take that step forward. Or, the running back's going to get, enough opportunities. I'm just done with this team because they're that bad. Their offense is somehow getting worse throughout the season. Even somehow in a victory, they managed to barely score any points, and just field goals it's a mess there. Trevor Lawrence now is hurt. Robinson, if he plays, he's probably not going to be 100% because he's still limited in practice. And then going against the Colts, there's going to be negative game script. This is a team that's sixth best against the run. I just don't want part of it. Look, I get that he has been scoring when he's on the field. But again, this just doesn't seem like the time to risk it because there is a very low floor with every Jags player. So as much as I like Robinson at this point, I'd rather just ship him off to another team that thinks he's going to be a weekly RB2 and get someone a lot safer instead. But that's just me. And then this might seem obvious, but the Titans running backs, yeah. So last week, kind of what you expected. Peterson got more of the carries. McNichols got some receptions. Peterson ran in a very short touchdown, and that was it. Is any of that going to help you in fantasy? No. Peterson's touchdown, that maybe got him, a few points, but that's not enough, right? You're really not going to hope for a multi-touchdown game from a guy like this. And going against the Saints are still the best run defense in the league. They're giving up 2.8 yards per carry to running backs. Okay, so Peterson might actually, I guess if he averaged 2.8 yards, that might actually increase his average. But anyways, falling into the end zone, just don't take a chance on that. McNichols, I'm going to admit, I thought he would have a decent game because of the pass catching opportunity last week. Maybe they'll be down big against the Rams. Well, that didn't happen. That game didn't go the way anybody thought it would. The Titans were actually ahead, but even with the Titans in positive game script, right, they were up big at halftime, and they never were behind for the rest of the game, and they still didn't really have much of a running game. Okay, all three running backs, including Dante Foreman, 74 yards on the ground combined on 22 carries. There's not a single one of those running backs that's going to give you enough value, even if they're going to catch passes, which would only be McNichols. It's not worth it. Just move along. If you picked up McNichols, I get it, right? I put in a couple waiver claims for a guy like, McNichols in some leagues. It's not worth it anymore. Keep on your bench as insurance, like if you absolutely don't have anybody else to play. But right now, especially against New Orleans, you can fade and bench all three of these guys. All right, those are my running backs that I'd like and don't for week 10. Hopefully you guys make the right decisions. We're here always to help you make those decisions. Check out RotoBaller all week long, updating our rankings for you, and also check out all our wonderful columns from our staff of writers. All right, guys, good luck.